Hello, welcome to Zimbabwe and the magnificent landscapes of Hwange National Park. I'm going to be spending several days here with a team of scientists studying the largest mammals in the wild, and in the course of our adventures, you'll see who really is the king of the Savanna. So follow me as we take off together on a thrilling expedition across Africa. While the elephant is an endangered species in many parts of the world, that's far from the case here in Zimbabwe. In fact, the opposite is true. In the space of 15 years, the elephant population has grown from 15,000 to 35,000 in an area half the size of Belgium. In the Hwange Park on the border with Botswana and Zambia, the entire balance of the savanna ecosystem is under threat. For herbivores such as antelopes, zebras and giraffes, access to watering holes is becoming increasingly difficult as elephants occupy them in large numbers. Forced to wait longer for their turn to drink, they become easy prey for natural predators such as lions and hyenas when they move elsewhere in search of water. Stéphanie Periquet is a biologist. She is part of a team of French scientists who, for over 10 years, have been trying to gauge the impact of elephant overpopulation on the rest of the fauna.
And tell him also that he can check for the elephant H1.
By fitting GPS collars to wild animals, Stéphanie can study their movements.
H9.
Okay.
I'm going to take part in a capture operation, which will last around 10 days. Many animals are involved in the campaign to fit collars, starting with the zebra. The operation can be an acrobatic process, so Stéphanie is helped by Roger Parry, a Zimbabwean vet who specializes in the capture of wild animals.
She's coming across the front now. Okay.
There's not a minute to lose. The procedure should last no longer than a quarter of an hour. A close eye must be kept on the zebra, which is about to be collared. The GPS collar enables scientists to receive data on the movements of the herbivores, providing valuable information about their behavior in response to the elephants dominating the watering holes. In temperatures of over 37 degrees, a sleeping animal can quickly become dehydrated. It needs to be kept constantly watered, and its breathing monitored to make sure the sleeping pill is well tolerated. There's another zebra there, a young one.
398.
For this female's foal, there is another danger. Only a few months old, the youngster is in a state of panic. Without its mother, it could lose its bearings, making it easy prey for the many lions and hyenas in the vicinity. A dozen or so zebras will be tracked. Here on the savanna, zebras, like other animals, must move around as little as possible in order to survive. Initial studies have shown that zebras are adversely affected by the massive presence of elephants in Hwange Park. Stéphanie wants to measure how many kilometers they need to travel to find food.
Steph, how long will this female wear the collar?
Between 18 months and 2 years.
The GPS battery will die first, so as soon as we run out of data, we know the battery's dead. At that point, we can come back to capture it and track it with VHF.
Okay,
So you'll have news in...
In 10 minutes, we'll have the first news.
This is hard going.
We're just getting started.
I'll load the equipment right away, then we'll be off. Other animals fitted with GPS collars include buffalo and, of course, elephants. That way, scientists can keep track of everything that happens on the savannah. Elephants are so plentiful here because they have been a protected species for some 40 years. Zimbabwe quickly realized that the pachyderm was a major asset for tourism, one of the country's most important industries. A decision was thus taken to ban hunting, and permanent watering holes were built in the park. Within just a few years, the effects were immediately obvious, with elephants multiplying rapidly. By deciding to protect them, humans have unwittingly helped to reshape the entire natural environment. While sightings of elephants here are no longer rare, the show remains as exceptional as ever. This is truly head-spinning. I'm less than 20 meters away from this herd of elephants, and there are around 80 of them. They keep coming from all directions. I can see them pouring out of the forest just as the sun is setting. It's the perfect time after a hot day for the elephants to come and cool off and drink in groups. I'll let you admire these absolutely extraordinary images. I know someone else who is still totally amazed by what he sees. Hervé Fritz leads the team of French scientists. Even after more than 10 years in the field, his eyes still sparkle at the sight of his favorite animals. So this is one of Africa's last elephant sanctuaries.
Indeed, Hwange has been considered a haven for elephants for decades now.
Yep.
Most of all, a place where the elephant population is doing well.
Doing too well?
Some people think so. I think it's open to debate, and that's why we're here.
In 1999, you created the HERD program.
That's right.
What exactly is HERD?
HERD stands for Hwange Environment Research Development. The idea was to promote environmental research at Hwange. Zimbabwe's environmental parks were keen on international collaboration with researchers. Part of their interest was how the growing elephant population was likely to affect the way the ecosystem functions in and around Hwange.
Yes.
Traditionally, elephants are seen as ecosystem engineers, capable of profoundly transforming habitats and opening them up by breaking down trees and leaving room for grasses. But there's the issue of coexisting with farmers on the outskirts of Hwange, with the elephants likely to do some damage to crops.
I don't get it. For years we've been told that elephants were on the verge of extinction in Africa and could disappear in the medium term, whereas here we see exactly the opposite.
Yes, it is a problem in this particular case.
Zimbabwe really is a special case.
On the whole, Zimbabwe is an exemplary country when it comes to population growth.
Yeah. An adult elephant consumes up to 140 liters of water a day and spends most of the day foraging for food rich in nutrients. Right now, at the height of the dry season, it needs between 150 and 180 kilos of food every day. It's a diet that has a direct impact on the park's vegetation. Around waterholes, the damage inflicted on the landscape is enormous, with trees uprooted and branches torn off. In their wake, the other herbivores have a hard time finding enough food to eat. Are elephants irreversibly destabilizing the environment? This is the question at the heart of the work of Hervé Fritz and his team. If the elephant population grows too large, will other herbivores in direct competition for feeding areas be forced out of Hwange? The inhabitants of Magoli are celebrating the return of Chloe, one of the team's scientists. Chloe is an ecologist and has been working with the villagers for several years. She is looking for ways to improve their difficult cohabitation with the elephants, with the aim of protecting the fields that are regularly destroyed. Chloe, do villagers miss the days when elephants could be shot?
I think so. People here observed that after the culling stopped, there was an increase in elephant populations outside the park.
So more damage in the villages?
Yes, additional damage in the villages, definitely. So now the park's policy is to drive out elephants. At the very least, people would like the park to have a greater presence in the fight against elephants.
Hence the importance of dialogue.
Working at the interface.
With the local villagers. They need us to listen to their problem.
The whole issue is about finding a compromise, trying to limit the impact of the damage affecting people outside the park while preserving enough elephants so that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren can continue to enjoy them.
Outside the village, Chloe is experimenting with elephant traps. This road marks the protected area. Here we're on villagers' territory.
Exactly. It's almost a metaphorical, not a physical boundary, since there are no barriers.
It's easy for the elephants. There are no fences. Watch out, Chloe. Yes, there are hives everywhere.
That was their setup last year during the dry season.
There are about how many here to create a sort of barrier against the elephants?
In this field, there are 12. Matthew, it would be nice if you could go a little faster.
Oh, come on, Chloe. Give me a break.
Exagère quand même.
Twist here.
So you want to twist?
Yeah, you can twist.
Oh, I like to twist. I can twist. Yeah, I can imagine you are the elephant, for example.
Yes, I'm
so
an elephant.
You come from here?
I'm just approaching, wanting to go in the fields. If I touch this rope, and this rope, you see where this is attached, it will also shake the beehive box. If there are bees inside, the bees will start coming out and disturb the elephant.
Donc c'est très malin,
It's a clever system because it's the elephant itself that disturbs the bees.
Precisely. The bees get angry, wondering what's going on. When they appear, the elephant hears the noise and leaves.
And there we go. An original and surprising idea whereby little beasts are able to chase away the giants of the savannah. For the villagers, the elephant population has a knock-on effect. Not only are their fields destroyed, their livestock are exposed to the risk of contamination, the result of the buffalo being chased away from the watering holes by the elephants. As they venture into forested areas to find water, the buffalo come into contact with the villagers' cattle. It's an unusual situation, which carries with it the very real risk of infectious diseases being transmitted between livestock and wild animals. In Hwange Park, scientists are keeping a close eye on developments by stepping up their efforts to capture buffalo in search of viruses. When the balance of the ecosystem is altered, it can produce something of a butterfly effect. New changes are always being discovered. The team's work is far from over. This is the plane you're going to take?
That's right, a bush baby.
Bush baby?
That's right.
A baby from the savannah.
Donc là, qu'est-ce que tu vas faire exactement?
You're going to fly over the park to spot the buffalo herds.
Exactly. Today we'll be looking outside the park and communicating with the ground team by radio. The problem with capturing buffalo is that they're very sensitive to temperature and regulate badly when they're immobilized. So for the time being, we'll locate where the herds are, then do the captures later at around 3 or 4 o'clock when the temperature starts to fall.
No room for me in the bush, baby, so I can't go up with Stephanie today. But I'm going to take part in the capture on the ground. Michel Dugarine is a veterinarian and biologist who works with buffalo, monitoring their movements and identifying the diseases they can potentially transmit to other herbivores. By studying their movements, he examines how they come into contact with livestock. Was it thanks to Stephanie's information that you were able to locate these buffalo?
Yeah, that's right. The plane has radioed us information about the buffalo's position. We know they're about 500 meters away. The aim is to find the best access route.
Roger Parry, the vet in charge of anesthetics, is always on hand. Captures are his passion. He already has 3,000 to his name.
Pas facile.
It's not easy to find your way around.
Oh, mind your head.
So the plan is we go on the other side, try to see whether we can get closer.
So we'll go back there and you'll be
So the approach went badly for two reasons. The first is that the bush is a lot more enclosed than we had anticipated. And the second is the wind's just picked up and it's blowing in the wrong direction.
Did they hear us coming?
No, they smelled us.
Nothing to be proud of.
Well, at least we spotted them.
Here we go again, 3 hours later. The buffalo operation goes on, still with no buffalo. But Stephanie is up there in the sky, sending us information, so we know we're somewhere near the herd.
We're reaching the open ground, so the aim is to anticipate the movement of the herd and position ourselves so that we can get within shooting distance and capture them as soon as they're out in the open.
Time to try again. Michel, Stephanie, and Roger Parry have decided to change zones. This time, they'll try a different approach.
Any news, Roger?
He's just gone to check another area. This herd is moving quite slowly.
They moved 200 rounds?
No, they're moving in this direction. So we're just waiting here just so, in case of that.
Good. Just cross fingers.
The heat, but also the vegetation, makes the mission difficult. Unsurprisingly, the animals seek shade in the shelter of the trees. Catching them in 40-degree weather is not easy. The helicopter is indispensable to be able to get close enough to the buffalo to tranquilize it.
Okay, they're coming out.
I witness my first rodeo on the Savanna.
You can't let them get across to the other side. He has to keep them in this area.
That's it. A buffalo has been darted, as Roger says. Blindfolding the buffalo reduces stress. Even when the animal is asleep, it is important to limit any visual stimuli that might provoke unexpected reactions. Wow. Seems strange, because the beast is so massive. I've been tasked with the dirty work.
What do I have to do?
Inside? Yeah. Are you sure? My hand?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
The operations to be carried out are numerous. Excrement analysis, size calculation, hair and blood sampling.
So we take some blood. I take 2 samples from each animal.
Yeah.
Examining it under a microscope allows us to identify parasites in the blood.
Okay.
It's better to take it from the capillaries and small veins rather than blood circulating in major arteries.
Do these animals carry lots of parasites?
Buffalo and cattle are quite close genetically, so we have a lot to worry about in terms of disease transmission.
What do a buffalo's teeth look like?
Alors, une big flamme adulte, tu vois, ça c'est symétrique. Il y en a 4 d'un côté, 4 de l'autre. Donc là, elles sont toutes développées.
Ouais.
Donc ça veut dire qu'elle a plus de 6 ans.
The samples will be sent to a laboratory in the capital, Harare. The GPS collar is always fitted at the very end of the capture process. How long will it wear the collar?
For 2 years.
2 years.
It's the lifespan of the batteries.
Okay. A wrench and a screwdriver. Research on the Savanna reminds me of a garage workshop. He's not breathing very hard.
His breathing's slow.
Okay,
Come on, let's move.
What's going on?
we move and go.
We have to move fast.
That's not a good sign. Michel needs to revive it right away. Is there any risk of death or not?
We can't say.
The buffalo has to be woken up quickly. Everyone moves away except the vet. It's a delicate moment. How long does the antidote take?
A few seconds, about a minute.
Phew. 543 has woken up. Now the scientists will be able to study it closely for the next few years. That's 543 taken care of.
Yeah, that's what we'll call him from now on, 543.
And he's gone back to his own now.
That's it.
Your job as an epidemiologist is to be able to analyze and cross-reference the results.
We'll monitor the animal's health status, and the samples will tell us what types of parasites and pathogens it carries. We do the same thing simultaneously on cattle. We can track how they use their space, which watering holes they frequent. We're working on this notion of contact and the possibility of transmission of parasites and pathogens, not only between buffaloes and cows, but also potentially to humans.
These animals can transmit diseases to humans?
Yes, although generally not directly. But some of the diseases that can be transmitted to cattle can potentially be transmitted to man. We're trying to find solutions so that wildlife and livestock can coexist.
It's obvious that to carry out research here, you also need to be an adventurer, a hunter, a tracker, even an explorer. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
How's it going? So, Hervé, we've reached Gouvalala.
Gouvalala. Club Gouvalala.
Gouvalala Club.
Michel,
You got something for us, Michel?
quelque chose à nous offrir?
Yes.
Enfin, je vois qu'Hervé est déjà
I see that Hervé's already been served. What's this?
Dried beef.
From where?
From here, a local speciality.
Oh, it's good. Little pepper. That's great. Nothing like a cold drink and some dried meat to celebrate a first night under the stars. Apéritif, Savanna style.
Belle journée.
Hi, Mathieu.
Hi, Stephanie.
How are you?
How are you? Yeah, good. And you?
Fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Stephanie is interested in the competition between hyenas and lions. Both species are at the top of the food chain. They have no predators here, so they compete for the same prey. The night is the ideal time for studying hyenas, and during the day, Stephanie knows a few places that, I have to say, are well worth a visit. Oh, magnificent. Oh, they're beautiful.
Let's speak softly. It's a group of males, females and their cubs. One adult male, Tony, is about 4.5 years old, plus 2 adult females. The one with the collar's probably about 6 or 8. And I think that one is the mother of the 4 cubs, who are between 6 and 8 months old.
Wow.
Oh, that really is a big cat.
Notice how you can't hear a sound. You can see that she still has little spots on her paws, confirming she's a young lioness. So the one in front of us here is the mother. She's about to come say hello. You have the male, his females, and his cubs. These cubs must belong to Tony or the other male. Otherwise, by this age, they'd already have been killed. In fact, once the female no longer has her cubs, she's back on heat pretty quickly. And the male will have a choice to reproduce. It sounds selfish, but you have to remember that males are in charge for only 2 or 3 years on average. So if he wants to reproduce and pass on his genes, he has no choice but to procreate immediately. Otherwise, 2 or 3 years later, he might be hunted and his cubs won't be big enough, so they'll be killed. It's the elephants here who decide who gets to drink and who doesn't.
What kind of problem does the growing elephant population here in Hwange Park cause for the lions?
They're a significant source of food. Lions kill the cubs or weaker elephants, and they also have access to carcasses when they die naturally. Right now, the high elephant population seems to benefit the lions.
How do you know where the lions are in the savannah today?
We track the pride using a GPS collar. One of their main particularities here is that they specialize in hunting elephants, especially in the dry season, when elephants suffer more than most animals from drought and lack of food, so they're weak. This is also usually the period when they have their young, so quite a lot of prey is easily accessible to the lions, and killing an elephant is a big reward because obviously there's a lot of meat.
Along with the other animals, elephants become more vulnerable in the dry season when food becomes scarce. As their numbers multiply, the weakest begin to drop like flies. Watching this elephant cub, I'm reminded of what Stephanie said about lions feeding off them. Oh dear.
He's trying to get up again, but the big male has him pinned down, so I think he's done for.
How often do lions attack elephants?
It doesn't happen all the time. It's a dry year, late in the dry season, and the elephants are in bad shape. The youngster was already alone, probably isolated by the group, unable to keep up as the matriarchs led them to the water.
Is there such a thing as elephant abandonment?
When they're too weak, the matriarch prefers to keep the ones that are still in shape rather than put her other young at risk for the weaker calf.
The young are left to the predators.
It's tragic, but the lions have to eat. Here we see how the lions have generated a lot of food for the scavengers behind them: hyenas, jackals, and vultures.
I'm surprised to see the males venture so close to the dying elephant calf. They need to check that it really is a lost cause. Buffalo and elephants can usually defend their young and save them from the clutches of lions. But in this case, the adults in the herd decided it was just too late to intervene. An elephant carcass still has its uses, especially to researchers, who utilize it to prepare an effective bait to trap hyenas.
That's not going to cut properly. But that's... Well, it's going to be easier to cut because there's no skin already. Here, it's going to be easier.
I'm cutting off an elephant leg to use as bait for a hyena capture tonight. This isn't the easiest one to cut, but the rear legs, which would have been easier, well, they're too dry, so there isn't enough meat to keep the hyenas busy for long. So we'll take one that's harder work. The smell is strong, but not unbearable yet. But it isn't my favorite task.
Elephants allow us to study all the scavengers of the savannah and observe how they adapt. The increase in the number of pachyderm corpses benefits feeding hyenas. But working as a pack, they too can attack the weaker elephants.
Juliette's just collected the hair from the elephant's tail because the tradition here is to make bracelets out of it. If you didn't know, you might think it was plastic. We all have elephant, giraffe or zebra hair bracelets. We boil it to clean it up. Then people who know how work on them, which is pretty cool. Soon we'll have bracelets.
Stephanie is trying to see how the increase in elephant numbers is affecting the feeding habits of predators like hyenas. Night is falling, and it's the right time to capture the hyenas.
The sun's just set, so it's a bit early. We'll put the bait down now so they can smell what's going on. Then we'll withdraw a bit and give them time to check it out. And eat if necessary, and hope that the one we want is there.
Okay.
We'll put on gloves so we don't have to wash our hands afterwards.
Oh, serious stuff.
Hola.
I'm not very good at this.
It doesn't matter. They're not the best quality, so...
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. You're being too kind. Now for Operation Elephant Leg.
Now, exactly.
Okay. Ça sent bon,
Smells good?
Look, I've earned the right to wash my car.
Well,
it smells very strong, huh?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Mm. Okay. Oh.
Have to move it a bit.
okay.
Donc là, normalement, ça va
This should be good because when they come,
Right.
they'll shoot through the open part.
Okay.
So if they shoot, it should stay there.
Okay. And from how far away can the hyenas smell this elephant leg?
Well, given the conditions we have now, since it's not really warm anymore, the smell won't develop, there's no wind. And the rest of the elephant isn't here, so I'd say between 500 and 600 meters. Smell's the main sense that hyenas use to find carcasses. They can smell big carcasses from miles away downwind.
Is it a dangerous animal?
No.
Could we walk around them?
Yes.
So the hyena prefers an elephant's leg to the leg of the human who's come to observe them?
Exactly. It smells better to them than us.
We're too clean for them.
Don't use too much deodorant.
It's going to be a long night, isn't it?
It might go on for a while.
We are looking for a hyena that Stephanie had already fitted with a GPS collar during a previous capture campaign 3 years ago. She has located the animal and knows its nocturnal habits. Using red light is the only way to observe hyenas without dazzling them.
Le whoop.
To attract them, we use that sound.
Look, there they are.
Actually, that's a sound that means eat. Don't move, Hugo. Stay where you are. It's the one on the left.
There's no mistake. It's the hyena Stephanie is looking for. After taking the usual samples, the collar can be changed. What about the legs?
Lift them up.
Did it beep or not?
No.
There's a bit of fur missing, but the collar didn't hurt her.
So it's not too intrusive after all. Smells very strong.
It's antibiotics, don't worry. I need to download the data on other hyena collars, so it's quite likely I'll be out all night. Tomorrow too.
How many years will the study last on this hyena?
This collar should last for another year or so.
Okay.
Next year, when I come back, we'll have to remove all the collars.
What's so fascinating about this animal?
Everything. It's an animal held in very low esteem by the public. So it's interesting to find out why. When you work with them, you realize that all the myths are false. When you tell people you're working on hyenas, they think they're horrible. They stink, make funny noises, that they're scavengers. But it's all wrong. They do smell, but they don't stink. They're no more scavengers than lions are. People have misconceptions about hyenas, so it's interesting to talk about them.
A way of defending the animal.
To restore the hyena's image.
Yes. Looking at the teeth, I understand how hyenas manage to attack any carcass, even the most sturdy, like elephants.
We mustn't stress her any more than she already is. We'll just follow her for a while to make sure she's okay, doesn't go back to sleep.
Okay.
If all goes well, we'll head home. We've earned a good night's sleep.
I think so. It's my last day of capture operations. To understand how the elephant unbalances the natural environment, its behavior and its movements have to be carefully analyzed. Zebras, buffaloes, hyenas, lions. The park scientists are studying a wide range of animal species, but their main preoccupation is the elephant.
We're now headed towards Doppy. With any luck, the elephant will be between here and Doppy.
Hervé's tracking a 5-year-old female already fitted with the collar, so we need to locate her signal. The collar is at the end of its life and needs to be changed quickly. Otherwise, the animal will be lost to the researchers, and all the work carried out to date will have been in vain. But clearly, the researchers are not the only ones on the pachyderm's trail. It looks like the lion is watching the elephant, as if it's already its prey.
It has certainly become its prey. As far as he's concerned, it's his meal. No one's going to take it away from him. And if you try, he won't be happy.
Is this where we're going to capture the elephant?
He's probably in the trees you can see over there. We're waiting to triangulate with our ground antenna and the antenna on board the plane. We'll try to get a signal and head for the elephant.
It's nice to know that there's an extra line around to spice up our capture.
Make it extra hot.
Exactly. Like hot pepper. Do you have anesthetic darts for the lion?
Yes, just in case. We'll check with the pilot and Roger.
The work on pachyderms is the most difficult because the animal's weight is a major handicap in the capture operation. Steph, what information have you got?
Apparently they have a signal from the plane, but they can't locate it or see any elephants. So we're trying to establish two things. First, to see if it really is a clear signal, because sometimes you get interference, and when you're not used to tracking, it looks like a signal when it isn't. That's what we're checking. The second thing we're doing is fitting another tracking system to the helicopter to see if that helps.
Is the temperature a handicap?
If it starts to get too hot, we won't jeopardize the elephant's physical integrity by anesthetizing in high temperatures. They've signaled, so that means it's okay.
I'm impressed by this close encounter between the scientists and this animal, Africa's largest beast studied from every angle. It's nothing like I imagined it to be.
When you capture an elephant, you need to prevent the animal falling on its belly and sitting down. Because of their huge mass, if they fall into a sitting position, they lose their breathing rhythm. Then we extend the legs to avoid compressing the circulatory system, as well as the trunk to keep it open and ensure good breathing and blood oxygenation.
Bardi, next time try to choose a less thorny area.
Yeah! Great! Got it first time. Elephants react well to drugs, so respiratory rhythms are generally quite good. The conditions are ideal for captures, apart elephant's body condition, which is quite low in the dry season. As soon as we finished with the collar and taken all the samples and measurements, which generally takes 15 to 20 minutes for a well-coordinated team, we wake up the elephant by injecting it with an intravenous antidote. The whole team has to immediately move away because once it wakes up, it suddenly becomes aware of its environment. And if it finds humans around, that will really stress it. So we try to limit the stress for her and the danger for us, because when she wakes up, we don't know how she'll react. An elephant can run fast, and accidents can happen quickly.
Okay, is everybody ready to go? Are you ready? Okay.
It's all over. The capture operation is coming to an end in Zimbabwe. The GPS collars will be sending out valuable information. Stephanie, Hervé and their teams will analyze the data sent by the animals in the months to come, trying to answer the question, can humans return the African savanna to the state it was in before they decided to protect the elephant? And how? Should they be transported elsewhere? No, that would be too expensive. Or can we solve the problem once and for all by launching a culling campaign? That solution seems inconceivable. Scientists still have a lot of work to do to understand how best to make the relationship between humans and wildlife a harmonious one. But before I leave Zimbabwe, I want to share with you one of the most beautiful moments I've witnessed here in Hwange Park. The setting sun, casting its warm, orange light across the elephant's waterhole.